You may have seen this camera on Instagram under the name RetroSnap, the tiny digital camera claiming to have a retro look or to capture feelings. Yeah, you probably know the one. And you probably thought, what idiot actually buys one of these? Me. This kind of idiot. So you don't have to. Now let's rip this little thing to pieces, shall we? Let's start by presenting the RetroSnap's stats. It records 1080p video at 30 frames per second. Alright, that's fine for a little camera, but first hiccup, a 1920 by 1080 video is in a 16 by 9 aspect ratio. But the screen is a 1.44 inch 4x3 display. That means it's trying to fit a rectangular image in an almost square screen.
Right, it goes in the square hole.
And instead of just cropping out the size of the image, the screen squishes it horizontally, forcing it to fit.
George. It goes in the square hole.
The other thing it does in 16 by 9 on a 4x3 screen is take pictures in a very weird resolution. Bills itself as an 8 megapixel or 4K camera, meaning the resolution should be exactly 3840 by 2160 pixels. Bafflingly, it instead outputs images with a resolution of 3760 by 2128 pixels. Does this change the aspect ratio? No, doesn't really change anything, but it's weird and I don't like it. What I do like is its battery life. The battery is smaller than that of the kids cam since the whole unit is smaller, but it manages to use that more limited battery more efficiently with an auto shut off after a minute or two being inactive so that it doesn't die in your hands after 30 minutes. Kids cam. Speaking of the kids cam, here are its stats. 1080p 30 FPS video and 2048 by 1536 stills with a 2-inch screen. And I've realized while its resolution is also confusing, the RetroSnap at least is consistent in keeping its 16 by 9 aspect ratio. The kids cam does 16 by 9 video and 4x3 stills, thankfully cropping off the sides for video mode instead of squishing the image. This is the part where we talk about the marking of each of the cameras. I didn't have a transition. The kids cam is about as vague as is allowable by the United States government. It tells you that there is, in fact, a camera in the box and not much else. It has games on it, a battery, a screen, and some amount of storage. That was boring. Anyway, the RetroSnap outright lies its ass off in nearly every single frame of the advertisements you may have had the misfortune of stumbling across on Instagram. Let's dissect one, shall we? We open on the common Californian beach douche, already sunburned as he tries to rest behind his knockoff Ray-Bans after having stopped trying to read the Steve Jobs biography. Too many big words, perhaps. Then the camera person holds up a RetroSnap as we transition to footage pretending to be taken on that camera. However, this is provably false, as the grainy footage is clearly 4x3 instead of the 16 by 9 the device actually records in. We see various shots of beach and California as the video claims it looks like VHS footage. The scene changes again to a woman on an elevated patio, likely outside of an apartment, when another RetroSnap is brought up to the camera and we transition to more fake footage. This time even more illegitimate. We can see the footage zoom in. The RetroSnap can't do that. Finally comes the only truth in the video. It does fit on a keychain. And what's this? If we pause on this section where the RetroSnap is being held sideways, we can see the image being squished. Proof in the advertisement that it shoots 16 by 9 and forces it onto a 4x3 screen. This may be the only time we see the real RetroSnap actually doing something in the entire 16-second ad. The main thing here is that they completely faked all of their footage, likely using some sort of tapeless camcorder setup. And to prove it, Jason and I went out to the beach to get some footage of our own, using the real RetroSnap. So here's what that actually looks like. Alright. I think both of these are recording now? They are. Okay. Look at the horde of people. Because it's Thursday, January 14th? 16th. Completely wrong. And there's a SpaceX launch that was supposed to be yesterday, got postponed to today. And this is test footage. I think they're both recording in 1080p. But I can't quite tell from right now. Okay, turning off the cameras. As you can see, it looks much less grainy than the footage captured in the advertisement, instead just looking smeary and muddy. Though, to the real RetroSnap's credit, the colors are much more vibrant and contrasty compared to how flat and washed out they are on the advertising footage. Comparing my footage, the footage from the ad, and this screenshot from a Max Vega video on tapeless camcorders, yeah, they definitely used a real camcorder for their ad and lied. Why they do that when the footage out of the real product doesn't even look that bad? Mystery to me. Though the answer is probably that everything is a lie, and all the footage is stolen. According to the RetroSnap website, the company is based out of either London or Indiana, not California. All of this reeks of dropship trash to me. Anyway, here's a side-by-side of a pic from the RetroSnap and one from the KidsCam. While it's not very much better, you can still make out all the sharp edges on the building and most of the roof on the KidsCam, as opposed to in the RetroSnap's image. The center on the RetroSnap blows out immediately as soon as it's pointed in the general direction of the sun, making it practically worthless outdoors. Unless you're British, I guess. And the pitiful flash makes it practically worthless at night. Maybe it's better indoors, but I didn't really get to test that before I had to give it back to Jason. Maybe it's decent at a party, but do you think I'd go to those? How many friends do you think I have? So, who wins the scammer shootout? The tiny pile of lies with the camera in it? Or the unicorn-clad drop-shipped camera from Walmart? For function, the point goes to the RetroSnap, since it doesn't take a second and a half to take a picture. For honesty, the point goes to the KidsCam, because you can't lie if you don't say anything. And for the fun factor, I'm calling it a tie. The RetroSnap size and the KidsCam's unicorn case both spark equal amounts of joy, so no point is awarded to either. Therefore, the first real scammer shootout is a tie. Sorry if that's a little disappointing, but you're free to explain why you think I'm wrong in the comments. If you put forth a convincing argument one way or the other, I might just pin it. I read every single comment, so I may respond to your argument even if I don't pin it. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you feel like it, and come back soon. I have some other things for you to watch in the meantime. Until then, I've been Harrison, you've been you, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Fuck, I forgot my line.